Hey everybody, it's Nickens back with another video. I took a little hiatus, still looking for, I was looking for content, and I was going to put out a comments video, but haven't had enough time to really spend time editing it. It's a huge deal when I edit those, and I want to make sure I put a lot of love into those, so it takes a little bit longer, so I haven't had super a ton of time to get to that, but I needed to cover this. I've been kind of sitting back, I was relaxing today, had Friday off, wasn't really thinking about too much. And then MLW just dropped this, effective immediately. MLW increases the minimum batting lineup to 4 players. I think this has been stirring for a while. I can remember back in the day, I think a couple years ago when Brendan Schultz was going to move, the Predators were going to try and trade their pick for him in order to not draft anybody to keep their 3. So I think this is kind of a joint rule to change the way the playoffs work and to change the way MLW works. I mean, what kind of league do you have if you have drafting players and you're getting more people in there, but you're not going to utilize everybody because 3-man lineups are so much more effective than 4-man lineups, and now everyone has to use a 4-man lineup. And as you can see in the comments, I mean, this has been pretty much huge. I get it, not a huge, but this is probably one. I like that managers had the choice to do that or not. Massive stuff, best move yet, about time, massive dub. It mostly really positive things. They're mostly people are really excited about these changes, and I am too. I think it's about time, and I really enjoy that they're changing. They're innovating and they're doing better. So I wanted to go to the rosters. I kind of want to jump over here into the lineups for 2022. Of course, this is before the draft, so I'm going to just go ahead and rank the teams in terms of their 4-man lineups and see how they would do now. This is definitely something that is going to change the way we perceive and judge teams now, because you're only as good as your weakest man, and especially a team where you only have maybe one superstar that can hit, you're going to need multiple. So let's go ahead and start with the Cobes. Now, Cobes currently have on their roster Gus, Brendan, Sawyer, Drew, Andy, and Sean. And right off the bat, this is kind of going to be interesting for the Cobes. Sawyer and Drew can definitely carry the workload, and you also have Andy and Sean. Whether Baranowski is going to get on the plate and hit is a different question. But, I mean, I'd love to see him get out there more. Obviously, he has a 300 on-base percentage, so he can get some walks, but seeing the ball, not his greatest strength. So I feel in terms of the Cobes that they're going to be probably pretty fine. We'll see Baranowski had to have a really great season for them to do really well. Not that it's bad, but we'll see how that translates into next year. They kind of need another guy to they really need Sawyer to kind of step up as a pitcher maybe a little bit more. But the Cobes are looking pretty solid, I'd say. Let's go on to the Diamondbacks. Now, again, you see this, and this is just, obviously they just won the Natty, a.k.a. the World Series. I call it a Natty because of college football. But we're looking at these 4 guys, and we're going to have to see their rookies step up. Casey Bennett and Trey Flood. I know Trey's very good. He can also duel as a pitcher. Casey, we saw him do really well in the first game, but unsure about the second. And this may end up hurting the D-backs with their 3-man lineup. I know Jimmy really carries that, but Jimmy getting one last at-bat per game, potentially, if this really affects them, is that they're going to really have to have Casey or Trey step up next year, and they can't just rely on Jimmy really pulling their load. They're going to have to have Jonah really step up this year, or one of the rookies really step up for them to repeat what they did this past year. Now, the Eastern Eagles, this probably most boosts them. I mean, Dallas, Dan, Blade, Zach, and Landon. I mean, these guys have 5 really solid. I mean, look at the average right here. Blade with the lowest at 200, but he was injured, didn't get any many games in. But all these guys above 200, 3 of them above 300. So this really helps them with a really solid, rounded out team. So this is going to be good for them, especially during the playoffs. I know they've had playoff struggles, but definitely look for the Eagles to maybe make a deeper playoff run if they have 4 solid guys versus having 1 really good guy and 3 guys. Now, I think this also really helps the Gators. They have three, and Reese Harris, guys that they can get on the field more, trade out more, get Reese more reps. And all these guys. I mean, getting Chasen more reps and Chris more reps, Brennan and Zerleg, all these guys again above 200. This is really going to help them out and hopefully give them more of a chance to get on base and put some damage in. Because 3-12, I mean, if you have all these guys out there, it's going to be really helpful. Now to the Magic. In the Magic, this doesn't really help them, or nor does it hurt them. I think in terms of getting to see their pitchers, getting to see more batters is probably better for them with Bonham or Liam or Kurt yeah. This probably helps them more. I'm interested to see what they do with their picks, but this probably helps them more than hurts them. With Trevor seeing less really good batters, probably helps his average a lot. I mean, probably helps his ERA a lot more. We'll see with the rest of them. I really don't know what to think of the Magic until after their draft picks, but obviously they're probably still at the bottom. But we'll see. I mean, Jack is probably going to make some really good decisions. He's always been a really good manager. And him with picks, we haven't got to see that yet, to see that side of Jack. So I'm interested to see what happens. Okay, for the Mallards, I think this is going to be interesting because they had really solid years with Tommy and Robles, who really carried the team. And adding an extra person may be a little tough, especially with Brendan and Caden and Ben not having good years. So I feel like this hurts them a little bit this year, so maybe seeing them take a downturn only if Brendan or Caden or Ben don't step up. I mean, I know these guys have talent. They can do well. They've shown it in the past, but they really got to pull it together for this next year. Now, for the Preds, this is kind of the big question mark because Ryan, Brennan, and Alec have been so solid for so long. I mean, these guys have dominated, and they've been 3 strong since 2019, 2018. I mean, these guys have been running it like this for a long time, and this kind of messes with their system, right? They got to put McGlade in or Mack in or use one of their draft picks. So I'm interested to see exactly what happens. It's not great that Ryan or Brenner or Alec, especially after their years, are going to get one less at-bat per game. But this could be good if Mack steps up or if Steven steps up. It could be really good for them. I'm interested to see them really step up to the plate this year. Obviously, they have pretty good on-base percentages, even though none of them recorded a hit. But, I mean, it seems like they can see the ball well, and we'll see how they do next year. And then lastly, with the Wildcats, another question mark team going into this year because they've been 3 strong for a long time, and Ty Smith, we saw him a little bit, but not against really fierce competition. And so it'll be really interesting to see what they do with their draft pick or what Ty does to step up next year. And so with that all being said, I mean, you can look back on the teams. I think the Eagles really love this. I think the Gators really love this. If you're Cobras, Diamondbacks, Mallards, Preds, you're probably not super loving this. And Magic and Wildcats are kind of like the question marks, in my opinion. We don't really know. We don't really understand exactly what's going on in the minds of those teammates, but I assure you that it'll be great to see what they do with their draft picks and do next year. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do you love this change? Do you hate it? It seems like everybody really loves it. ECK just coming with the comment. Yeah, that's what I'm just talking about now. Thanks, ECK. What you guys think in the comments? Is this a good thing? Is it a bad game? We got some guys who are saying ain't no way. So let me see what you guys think in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.